Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lecture of Python programming full course. I hope you all are doing great, and more importantly, I hope you have practiced what we have studied in the previous lecture. Remember, programming isn't something that you learn just by watching videos. The real learning happens when you open your computer, write your code yourself, make mistakes, fix those mistakes, and keep experimenting. So, if you haven't practiced yet, I would highly recommend spending some time with the previous lecture before moving ahead. In our last session, we covered several fundamental concepts of Python. We learned how to use the print function in different ways, explored the step and parameters. Then we also understood escape sequence, discussed the difference between interactive mode and script mode, and even worked with complex number using function like complex absolute ABS, along with the real and imaginary attributes. So towards the end of the lecture, we also started understanding Python tokens and one of their most important categories, keywords. Today's lecture is going to build directly on those concepts as we move forward in this course. You will notice that every new topic connects with something you have already learned. That's why revision is so important. Uh, if your basics are strong, the advanced topic, uh, they become much more easier to understand. So, before we begin today's lesson, let's spend some time revising everything we learned previously. I won't just repeat the definition, we will understand the concept again, discuss why they are important, and refresh our memory with their examples. So, this revision will make sure everyone is on the same page before we move on the new topics. So, grab your notebooks, open your Python ideally, or your favorite code editor, whichever you use, and if possible, type the examples all along with me. The more you practice while watching, the faster you will become comfortable with Python. So, without wasting much more time, let's begin our revision and then dive into today's exciting Python concepts, where I'll be teaching you identifiers. Towards the end of our previous lecture, we moved beyond the print function and we started understanding the basic building blocks of Python program. The first concept we learned was Python tokens, and a token is the smallest meaningful unit in a Python program. Just like English sentence are made up of words, similarly in Python programs are made up of tokens. So whenever Python reads a code, it first breaks the program into small, meaningful pieces called tokens. So there are different types of token in Python. These include keywords, identifiers, then literals, operators, and delimiters. Sometimes we also call them punctuators. So I'll also switch the slides. Here you can see tokens in Python. So keyword identifiers, literals, operators, delimiters, or punctuator, whatever you want to say. Once we completed our definition of tokens, we move forward to the subtopic keywords. After understanding token, we explored like one of the most important token types, which is keywords. So keywords are reserved words in Python. These words already have predefined meaning. And since Python itself uses them for a specific purpose, we cannot rewrite them. We cannot use them as variables names, and we can't use it for function names or identifiers name. For example, uh, here you can see if, else, in, for, while, and, or, true, false. You cannot use them for any variable type name. There are other keywords also. In my version, which I am using, there are 35 keywords. If you're using the latest version or any other version, there are chances that with the ongoing updates, the number of keywords might have changed. Uh, in my presentation, you can see that I have categorized the keywords as per the use case. If, elif, and else I have categorized in conditional keywords. Then For, while, break, continue, and pass for loop keywords. True, false, and none for Boolean keywords. The logical keywords are and, or, and not. Then functional keywords def, return, lambda. The except keywords try, except, finally, and raise. Then import keywords import, from, and as. Then class keywords, it is used whenever you want to do object-oriented programming. There at that place it gets used. Then variable keywords, so it defines the global or local space of a variable. So then we have context keyword. So it automatically manages the resources. For example, I have taken the example of a text file, which is file.txt being opened in our editor, in our code. So open is a function which is being used here. Using with, you are assigning it to a variable f. So this file's content is assigned to this variable f. If you will do f dot read, the whole file content will be in front of you. But if you will do f dot read line, then uh, the content which you'll be seeing would be the first line. If you will use a for loop, then the amount of time the for loop is being run, the those many lines would come in front of you. And then we also have f dot read lines. In read lines, where there's an s after line, so if you will use that thing, then you will receive a list with all the lines of the text file. Then we have async keywords. So async keywords help you execute tasks without blocking the program. Async, it defines an asynchronous function, and await pauses execution until an asynchronous task is complete. For example, when we can use it, let's say you have developed a program where the system is generating an welcoming image and it sends OTP. So whenever the system needs to generate a image, the GPU will acquire some resources. It will use resource. So let's say thousands of people are sending requests to generate images. Now, but OTP, it's a essential task which needs to be done. Whenever somebody wants to log in and an OTP is needed to be dispatched, you can't let it wait. So what we do, we just make OTP an asynchronous task, and we make the image generation await. So that what happens, so uh, whenever you like use whenever you want to generate an OTP, the OTP gets generated no matter how many images are still pending. Then we have identifiers, which we will talk about. But before that, we will practice a few examples for keywords. So I'll open my code editor. I need to set up it. Just give me some time. So now, uh, on the left, you can see my terminal. So if I write Python and I click enter, you can see the interactive mode or the interactive shell has started. So whatever I'll do, it will show. Let's say I'll type, it will give me help on built-in function, print-in module, build built-ins, print star as, comma, set is equal to end new line, file is equal to none, flush is false. So prints the value to a stream or to this dot standard out by default. So here we go. And if you want to exit this mode, you need to type exit. That's it. And if you want to close the terminal, you need to type exit. Right now, I'll use this demo.py so that I can demonstrate things to you. So let's start with the very first conditional keywords. Here you can see if, elif, and else. So how you can use it. So if pass, else pass. If true, let's say, if true pass, else pass, we did this. So if I try to run this and to open the terminal, new terminal I will create. So I'll do Python. And right now I am in the same directory of Python tutoring. The file name is demo.py. So you can see there is no output. So what is happening here? Whenever the syntax for the if else if and else condition is if some condition comes here, then you need to write a column. Then you have to write the code and block here. I'll comment it out so that it doesn't look ugly. So now it's much better. So if condition, and you need to type uh, whatever code which needs to be executed when condition one true. So for better understanding, I'll write condition one here. Let's say you have multiple conditions. So you will use elif. Elif, then condition two, again a colon, then a coding block will start for elif. Same thing. Code which needs to be executed when condition two is true. And likewise, you can do it. Now, if you have like none of the condition is true, if then you want to execute something, for that you have to use else. Else block you'll use the code which needs to be executed when none of the conditions satisfy the need. It's the need. So this is the syntax for if, elif, and else, which is our conditional system. So that's how you can use it. And if elif is optional, but you have to always write if whenever you want to do a conditional statement. You cannot just write elif. Elif needs to come after an if statement. You can write multiple if also. Let's for now we will create a variable named age, and as I taught you earlier that using a function called int, you can typecast the value. And whenever you use the function input, you can take input from the user. By default, the data type for the input is string. So we need to typecast it into integer. So right now, enter age. We will make a small program to have a better understanding what we will be making. A program to tell whether a person is eligible to vote or not. So we need to take the input of their age. If age is greater than equals to 18, print eligible, else print not eligible. Eligible, eligible to vote and not eligible to vote. We'll write this. So now here you can see if I'll run this, the program will ask me to enter an age. If I'll write 18, I'm eligible to vote. And if I rerun it and if I write 19, so I'm again eligible to vote. If I rerun it and I enter age less than 18, which is 17, not eligible to vote. So this is how you can use if, elif, and else. We haven't used an elif till now. So we'll add another thing, which is uh, that if the person resides in the country or not. So if country is equals to India or country, instead of residence, I should make a variable name country. If I'll do it, if country is equals to India or country is equals to, instead of doing this, we can also use a thing called this. We can use this. If I'll do it, use it, I'll just whatever input I will give, it will become all small. If country is India, print eligible to vote, else if voter ID, yes. If they do have a voter ID, then also they are eligible to vote. Eligible to vote, else we need to say sorry, you are not eligible to vote. So now here, if I'll hover over this place, you can see voter ID is not defined. So I need to define a variable named voter ID and need to take input. I have voter ID. So I need to write yes or no. So if I'll run this, what will happen? What how it will work? So it will take three inputs from the user. The very first input is the input for the age. The second input will be for the country name. The next input will be for the voter ID. For the age, what we are doing, we are taking the input and we're typecasting it into uh, we're typecasting it into a integer type data. So here you can see there's this error, which is that voter ID. Oh, so we are using assignment operator instead of uh, a comparison operator. I'll tell you what are operators, different type of operators in the upcoming lecture. So don't worry about it. For now, you just need to understand how we can use if, elif, and else. So try to see and understand the behavior. If I write python demo.py and I run this, it is asking me to enter a age. If I let's say I enter my age is 10. My country name, my country name is India. Do I have a voter ID? No. Minor should not have a voter ID. So not eligible to vote. We can optimize it a bit more better. So what I did, the in the very first place, what program was doing, if even though if the person is a minor, it will still ask for the country name. Do they have a voter ID or not? So to avoid it, what I did, I just used uh, I just moved it to the if block only, that if the age is more than 18, then only it queries the user that okay, what in which country do you live and do you have a voter ID? So if the country name is India, the person is allowed to vote. Now I'll enter 18. It is asking me the country name, India. Do I have a voter ID? If I write no, it is giving me eligible to vote. Why? Let's try to understand. So if voter ID is equals to yes, print eligible to vote. If country dot lower is equals to India, print eligible to vote. So what is happening? This line is getting printed. So that you can understand it, I'll enter win here and I'll enter a two here. So if I rerun this and I enter the same values, 18 India, and I enter no, here you can see it is printing eligible to vote 1. That means this block is being executed and it is not checking whether this second block is true or not. So how is it working? It is following a hierarchy. It is starting from top to bottom. It is using this top to bottom approach, that in the if block, it will check whether the if condition is true or not. If the if condition is true, it will execute the if conditions block and it will forget the program. It will just move out of this condition and it will enjoy. But if the if condition is not true, what will happen? The cursor will move forward to the elif block, which is else if block. If the condition will be true, it will evaluate the else if block code. So to understand it or to visualize it, we will rerun it. I'll enter the age, but now I will write Japan. And if I write yes, now not eligible to vote. So what does it mean? Why this thing happened? Because we have not taken in consideration that the user might enter a lower value too. That's why this is evaluating as a false value, and hence we are getting a not eligible to vote in output. To understand it or to say it directly, what you can do, you can just do this. I'll open Python. Now, here you can see, so here you can see that, uh, okay, my bad, the code editor wasn't visible to you all. So what I was doing, I'll just repeat it that so that you can have an idea. So this is the exact pseudo syntax. Mm, So if you then write a condition which needs to be evaluated, then the coding block which you want to execute when the condition is true. If this condition is false and you still have a condition to be checked, then you can use else if, and then execute the else if code block, and you can use else if multiple times. Similarly, you can use if also multiple times, but to use else, you can use else only once. Um, that too with a pair of if. There should be a single if present to use else. It goes, this rule goes with else if also. To use else if, there should be a single if present. And you can use multiple ifs and elifs, but you can't use multiple else in a single if else uh, chain. So how does it work? Right now we are taking input of age from the user. If the age is greater than 18, then we will execute this coding block. If age is less than 18, we won't do any computation. We won't take much more input from the user. We will just evaluate, okay, so he's not eligible or she's not eligible to vote, and we will just directly print, okay, you're not eligible to vote. So right now I'll exit this. Now if I write 15, which is obviously less than 18, so technically print not eligible to vote should get printed. So if I enter, so you can see the output we received was not eligible to vote. But if it's more than 18, let's say 19, then country name is India. If I write India, so there's no need to write have voter ID, because even if I write no, the if condition is true, so I will, the output on my screen will be first eligible to vote because Indian citizen. And yeah, for owns a voter ID. So now you can see that have voter ID, the output I have written, the input I'm giving to the program, I'm giving no. So it gave eligible to vote one, because when we ran the program, the code wasn't saved, the changes weren't saved, so that's why it gave the output of the old program. We will rerun this, and then any other country, if I write any other country and to have a voter ID, yes, then what will be the expected output? Please let me know. I hope you must have given your answer in the comment section. So let's go through this code. So right now, the input for the country is other. Now, other is not equal to India. That means this condition will become false. Now, I have written yes for this, have voter ID, yes. So what is happening? Else if true. So this block of code will get executed. So this means eligible to vote owns a voter ID should come on our screen. Eligible to vote owns a voter ID. Here we go. Similarly, if I enter a age, country name other, and no for this, both of these conditions are not satisfying. So none of the coding block is being is getting executed. So at last, the program will come to the else block, and this else block will get executed when none of the condition above gets satisfied. See, not eligible to vote. So not eligible to vote, but is major because mileage. So by this, our program become a much more descriptive, and that's how you can use conditional keywords. If, elif, and else. I hope you must have got a clear understanding how you can use if, elif, and else. That is our conditional keywords. Moving forward to the loop keywords. So you can have a look. We have for, then we have while, then we have break, then we have continue, and then we have pass. Okay, now the recording, I hope you can see. So we are getting started with loop keywords. That is our for, our while, our break, our continue, and pass. You can see their use case on your screen. Repeat over a sequence, then while also repeats itself, but it repeats itself till a condition is true. Whereas breaks, it stops the loop, and there is continue, it skips the current iteration. Then we have pass, which is just a placeholder that does nothing. So let's have a look at how we can implement loops. So we'll start with for loop. Now I'll exit this. Now I'll open a new terminal. I'll open. So here we go. So you need an iterable so that you can iterate over it for using for whenever you want to use a for loop. So for any iterable for I in range you can use whenever you have a fixed value. Okay, I need to uh, like I need to start the range till a value. Let's say if I write 5 and I print the value of I, what will happen here? Here you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is being outputted on our screen. What does it mean? It means range 5 is giving us an object uh, which is having values, which is an iterable, which is having values from 0 till a value less than the value you have passed in the argument. So similarly, if I change the value to let's say 7 and I rerun this, here you can see the output is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Moving forward to this, we have while loop. So as we saw that for while loop, we need to use the while keyword while some condition. So uh, We will use the same example which we took in our presentation. We'll create an index 0 while our index is greater than or equals to 5. We will print the index and we will increment the value of index by 1. So this operator plus is equals to 1 is equivalent to do index is equals to index plus 1. So these two are same. If I run this, let me comment it out. So if I run this, the expected output is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here we can see, okay, so I have done a logical error here. But instead of writing less than equal to, I have done greater than equal to. So 0 is never greater than 5. Or neither it's equal to 5. So of course the program didn't run as expected. Now if I try to run this, here you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the expected output. So that's how you can use for loop and a while loop. Now what we'll do, we can combine for loop, while loop together to create a program which can rent tables from any value you want to, up to any range you want. So for that, we will take a number. Number is equals to int input. We will write a message, enter number. Then we will use for loop first. So for I in range. Now, whenever you use range function, you can give the starting value and the value where it will stop. It won't give that value, it will just stop there. So I want it to stop on 11 and you can tell how many gaps you want. So right now one is justified, so that's it. But right now I don't want to make it complex, and by default it's already 1, so that's good for us. So I'll remove that one. For now I'll just pass it. Now what I want to print the table. As I taught you, either we can use formatted string, formatted x into something should give me something, and a new line character, which is not needed because by default the end character is a new line character. So now I want this thing to be used. I want this thing to print. So how I'll change the placeholder value now? Instead of pass, I'll write this thing and I'll comment it out for now. So now the range will generate values from 1 till 10. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then so now to print the table, I'll write number, that is something, into the iterable, gives me number into iterable. In Python, the asterisk operator, the asterisk is nothing but multiplication operator. This thing is a multiplication operator. Now if I run this and I enter a number, let's say 7, here you can see 7 ones are 7, 7 2 are 14, 7 3 is 21, 7 4 are 28. And you can use it for any table you want. Let's say you want to do 13, want to do 14, want to do 12. It will give you result immediately. That's one way you can do it using for loop. But let's say if you want to do it using while loop. So this was using for loop. Now we will again solve this using while loop. How you will do this? You need an iterable, you need an index to have an idea. Okay, I wanted to keep getting updated till that. So I'll take a number and typecast it into integer. Now I'll take an index value 1, a file, index is less than equals to 10, print, print the same thing. So now it is num, it's I equals to num asterisk I, and I need to update the value of I. Now if we run this, I need to enter a value. So here you can see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The result is being achieved. You can do it using then comma separated values in the print function instead of using a formatted string. You can solve it in multiple ways, but for now, the purpose was to understand how you can use for loop and while loop. I hope you can now confidently write code regarding these. So moving forward, let's understand the use of continue, break, and pass. So pass is nothing, but it's just a placeholder. You can use it whenever you don't have an idea, but the syntax requires it to something to be placed in the code block. So you can use pass there. It's just a placeholder. That's you can keep that in your mind, and it will do the work. Now regarding the break and continue, let's have a look. So break, it stops the loop, and continue, it skips the current iteration. And as I told you, that passes nothing, but it's just a placeholder that does nothing. It just stays, and it uh, it is just there to keep your syntax correct. So now have a look here on the screen. For I in range, let's say 10. For not 10, I want 5. So I want to print all the numbers uh, till this. I want to print all the numbers from 0 to 4, but I don't want to print 3 because I just don't like it. Uh, so how I'll do this? I need an if condition, that is a conditional statement. If I is equals to, it's an comparison operator which asks whether these two operands are equal or not. So if I is equals to 3, I want that it doesn't get printed. So as per theory, if I write continue, this iteration should get skipped. So I'll write continue here, else I want it to get printed. So if I'll run this, here you can see 0, 1, 2, but 3 is not getting printed. So what happened here? When the index was 3, it just got skipped. And if you want to stop the iteration at 3, and you need to use the break keyword. So if I run this, you can see 0, 1, and 2. At 3, it just stopped because we use break. When the iteration was, when the value of I was 3, the loop just stopped because we use the break keyword. So that's how you can use break, continue, and pause for while who use it in loops. So now as we have gone through the conditional block and looping block, I would like to uh, it should go through another coding problem, which is we will create a student grade calculator using if, elif, and else. So we need to write a Python program that takes the student marks from 0 to 100 as input and prints the corresponding grade. So there's the question. So this is the question. You need to write a Python program that takes student marks 0 to 100 as input and prints the corresponding grade. So this is if grade is from 90 to, if the marks is 90 to 100, it should print grade is A, and so on. So how we will do this? We need to take the marks input first. The marks input. We will display a message that enter marks, and then we need to uh, compare it. So we will use if marks greater than equal to 90 and marks less than equal to 100, print grade is else. I'll just copy paste this so that things become easier. So here the value should be 80. And here it should be 89. This should be B and A, B, C, D. Invalid marks. If below 60, that is grade F. A, B, C, D, and then F. So if marks is greater than equal to 0 and marks is less than equals to 59 before writing below 60, so which is 59. So printf, else if marks is less than and equals to 60, nine. So now we are done with our very first fully fledged working Python program. So you can see what we are doing. We are taking input of marks. We have printed the grade. So as you can see, I am using a white space character because I don't want to write the grade A again and again. So that's why I have written this only. So I am reusing it. If I run solution, I have to run solution.py. I need to enter marks. So Let's say someone scored 92, grade is A. Someone scored 72, grade is C. Someone scored 101, that's an invalid marks. So, but you can't write grade invalid. Just write grade invalid and we are there. So it is also, this can be also done. So now this is the completely accurate program which needs to be submitted whenever a question like this is asked. So here's the solution. This is a question, and I'll explain it once again that we are taking an input of marks and we are showcasing the message enter marks. We are typecasting the value to integer. Then we are using if-elif else blocks to compare condition according to the range which we have been allocated, and these greater than equal to, less than equal to, and these are operators which operates over certain operands. So now let's have a look over logical keywords. Before that, I would like to show you the Boolean keywords. So basically, these are Boolean literals which gives us a certain value where true represents the truth that okay, this condition is a truth. Whenever the value is false, it represents falsehood. Whenever the keyword is none, then it represents no value. That's it. So moving forward to logical keywords, we have and, or, and not. So use case of and is when both condition must be true. We use the and keyword, and we use or whenever we need at least one condition must be true, and not it just reverse a condition. So I'll demonstrate it also. Oh, we are on the screen. We'll open the evaluate printing. So now, if I do true, true and true, it should give me true. The output I received was true because the truth table of and is it gives us true only when both the conditions are true. If I do false and true, it will give me false. If I do true and false, it will still give me this. And if I do false and false, that's a sure short false. So here you can see when we use and, true and true gives us true only, and any other situation is a false. Going forward to not, so not true will give you false, and not false will give you true. As simple as that, and logically also it makes complete sense. That's why we also say logical keywords because they have a certain logic. Now we will evaluate, we will see how or loop works. So true, true, true or true if we do, it will give us true. If I do true or false, it is still true. If I do false or true, it is also true. If I do false or false, then it's a false. So this is how our logical keywords operate between two operators. False are these are operands and or is an operator. It is a logical operator. The truth table we have seen right now. It gives true when either of the condition is true. It gives false when both of the condition are false. And for not, the not just switches the value, and for and gives us true when both the values are true, and it gives us false when either of the condition is false. Moving forward, we have function keywords. So we can create function in Python using the keyword def. So here we can have a look. I close this. I'll open the solution. So define function name, then the parenthesis, then whatever parameters you want to add. Parameter 1, argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, and so on. You can also add default parameters and so on. So you can do this also. So print R1, R2, R3, and so on. Whenever, so this function right now, it's a void function. Whenever you want to return certain value after doing some operations, you can use return keyword. You can use a return keyword and you will see that, okay, a value is started being returned to your in your Python program. So let's make few Python functions for addition, for subtraction, for multiplication, and for division. We'll follow the syntax. Define addition number 1 and number 2. The so now sum of the uh, result will be num num1 plus num2 is being returned as a result. So if you call this addition 10 plus 20 and you print it, the expected result should be 10 plus 20, which is 30. So the value which is being returned is 30. So it should give us 30. And if I run this, so I need to run demo.py. Right now, okay. Instead of passing two parameters, I'm just passing only one argument. So if I run this, you can see we are getting the value 30. So what was happening before? Instead of giving two values, what I did, I just created an expression, and that's why it threw an error, which was addition missing one required positional argument. So when we will learn how uh, functions are created properly, what are the types of arguments and all, at that time we will learn that okay, there's a certain way in which we can use star args, which is anonymous arguments. Then we can use quarks also. Keyword it's the asterisk args, which is star args. Also, it gives you the list of all the arguments which was passed. Whereas in quarks, it gives us the keyword value pair. So that's how you can take multiple inputs from the user in a single function. So if we run current this program, what is happening here? The thing which is being happening, 10 plus 20, these are not two different things, but it is just an expression which simplifies to 30. So 30 comma 20. So value for result will be 30 plus 20, which is 50. So if I run this, the output we should get is 50. And here you can see the output was indeed 50. So it's working perfectly fine. Moving forward, we will create another function, just subtraction. So here you can see we have created another function, which is named subtraction. If I run this, expected output is 10 for subtraction. So if we run this, we get 50 for the addition and 10 for the subtraction. Likewise, you can create program for multiplication, division, float division. So let's complete the program. Multiplication and division. Multiplication and division. We run this, you can see 50, 10, 600 and 10 again. So 30 upon 20, it is giving us the value of subtraction. That's fine. We saw this. Now you can see it's giving us 1.5. So that's the correct output, which should be there. So that's how you can create function and get result out of it. Or we can also use anonymous function. So instead, if you don't want to type this much, you can just write a variable name. Let's say I want to write add, then I will pass. I have to write lambda then x comma y, then x plus y. You do a function is created which is named as add. I can call it directly. So print at 10 comma 20. If we run this, you will receive 30 as output. Voila, we did this. So in today's lecture, what we practiced our function keywords, logical keywords, Boolean keywords, loop keywords, conditional keywords, and then the basic of tokens, what Python character sets are, and how interactive and script modes are different. We also revised print function. So that's it for today. Enjoy your day. We will start with remaining topics in the upcoming lecture, which is identifiers. So identifiers are the names used to identify a variable, function, or other entities in a program. Right now, you can see the example is name is equal to Rishabh, age is equal to 20, TGPA list with values of TGPA being stored, then CGPA, some function being called over TGPA, the len function being called over TGPA. So these are the things which we'll be covering in our upcoming lectures. So to be continued in the upcoming lectures, be consistent, do follow, and please keep practicing all the concepts which we have been taught to you. So that was it for today's lecture. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.